anybody who's ever gone through the process knows that, you know, every overnight success comes after like a lot of years of failure.
Right.
But so there's no magic bullet, and I think again that goes back to why we do it the way we do it, where we make it really personalized, because there is no one thing that works for everybody. If there was, then everybody would do that one thing, and then it would stop working.
James Timberlake, welcome to the ROI Online Podcast.
Amazing, right?
Past years really revealed to us that we needed to offer this process because it's so empowering to our clients. And that's why we rolled out this pit stop experience. But the other thing that's really become clear to us is that this word community, we all hear this, you need to build a community. You need to bring content and serve your community. And to me, it was always like this. Well, of course, that's conceptual. We need to, post stuff on Facebook or YouTube or wherever where our community lives so that they get value from what we're doing. But it really hit me that, especially with the folks that were working in the pit stop, is that there's actual platforms that help you build a community that protects your followers, the people that really enjoy what you're doing, from being pilfered by Facebook or Instagram or these others. And that light bulb for me was like connecting all the dots, because my book was discussing all the fundamentals you need to have in place. Our pit stop was delivering the process to get the clarity on how you're going to bake those fundamentals. But where do you go to grow your community was the next step that we needed to get in place. And this coming from a place where I get these questions all the time is like, so what is business marketing and management? And then you think about that question, and it's really a legitimate question, because the Ashleys, the Stevens that we work with, they're really trying to discern, where's the place that marketing has in my business?
Mm-hmm.
What's the priority? But before, to me, marketing's always been treated like this ditzy blonde cheerleader that is kind of like annoying, but we have to put up with it, from time to time, because we need something creative to post on Facebook, and then get that out of the way and then move along with take care of we got to do real business now.
Mm-hmm.
But these are merging, and now we're finding that a lot of our clients, especially in this past year, they've been woken up to, we need to really get our act together online.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're working with like some of our pro clients, kind of help us see what they're struggling with to try to figure out, like, where does municipal pumping systems fit in with and expect of a marketing strategy / sales support strategy.
Yeah, well, again, it kind of just goes back to those conversations. And in this case, what we're talking about is, well, who are your stakeholders, right? Who are the people that you actually need to serve, and what are the best way to do those? And then you work backwards from there. And so, to use your example, it's like the people, you might have a company, like the client you're talking about, who services, municipal clients, but they also serve industrial commercial clients as well. But they need very different things, right? So even though some of the technology will overlap as far as the physical things that you're selling, the needs are very different, and the way that they go about buying is very different. I mean, I used to do government sales. That is a completely different process from industrial sales, which is a completely different process from consumer sales, right? And so to say that one's going to work with all of them, generally you find that you work backwards. Okay, well, what do these people need? How are they going to look for it? How do they have to go about buying? What kind of process do you build? And then where can you insert value into that process in an authentic way, right? And so for that client, it makes sense to do a bunch of different things. But one of the things they do is they start teaming up with engineers, local engineers, right? Who are on the front lines. They're getting these bids, they're getting these contracts, and maybe it's something where they need support. Well, if you've already introduced yourself as somebody who's provided support when you weren't expecting anything in return, then now when that engineer has a job that they need help on, they're obviously going to go to the guy that's already helping them, right? And I'm working on a book right now, and one of the things in that book that really resonated with me that I think applies here is this idea of sometimes you have to give trust to earn trust, right? And a lot of times we put out these flashy things, to your point, on social media or whatever, because it draws eyeballs, but it doesn't provide any real value, and you're not being vulnerable, you're not trusting anybody to do with it, right? You're just saying, look at me. It's the very celebrity-esque type of mentality. But then you see other people who do the exact opposite, and we have clients that they have essentially no social media presence, but they have real relationships with the key people in their industries and the key people in their client or in the organizations or potential client organizations that they're trying to work with, that bring real value to those people. And so you're building a relationship, and people, when that need arises, they're not having to go online and search for you. They're not having to, they're just go, oh my God, I need to call Joe, or I need to call Steven, or I need to call whoever, because they're my so-and-so guy, right? Like, I know that. And you do see, to be fair, you do see certain people that do this through sharing content online. It's not that it can't be done that way, but the people that I see doing it really well are people that are doing it very authentically, right? So they're sharing they're sharing their failures, right? In a very humble way. They're sharing life lessons that were learned the hard way a lot of times, right? Um, they're sharing client success stories, not their own success stories,
Yeah.
right? Things like that, things that are aspirational and inspirational in nature, but again, coming from a humble and a very authentic place. Those things tend to resonate well, but it's hard to fake that if that's not your passion. It's hard to get on a video and pretend like I care about something. For a lot of people, it comes. I think most people, especially now, because there's so many examples of it, can spot a inauthentic person like that.
Yes. So we end up helping. Here's the thing: you hire the people you admire, and so to be admired, you have to give value to the folks that you want to serve. And so that principle is in play across all domains, but how you go about it, the strategy that each of our clients need is different. But delivering authentic, helpful value in whatever way that happens to be doesn't come from a one size fits all place. And therefore, that's why we ended up with the pit stop process.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think, just as a final word on that, maybe, what is so surprising to people that go through the process is when they come in, they expect us to just start giving them answers. And that's not what happens. It's the opposite. All we do is ask questions. That's all I do. I ask a bunch of questions, right? Because they have the answers usually. They just don't know it. It's hard to uncover it. And then we can come in and go, okay, cool. Now that we have those answers, let us tell you about some of the cool things that we've seen other people do that maybe would work for you. And how does that resonate with you? And hey, so-and-so did this plan and got this result. How would that work if you were to tackle that? Right. So you can still bring in that advice without having to make it so dogmatic, I guess, is I think what a lot of people find kind of surprising, because that's how we approach the call. To your point, it's not prescriptive. We don't come in and say, this is what you're going to do, and this is how everybody does it. It's what makes the most sense for you. Now let's look at what other people did and see what makes sense for you as well. And
Listening to the ROI Online Podcast, we're having really great conversation with one of our team members, James Timberlake. And James, so I get asked these questions a lot. I want to go through like a handful of questions, somewhat similar, but they're different, and just kind of discuss these. Okay.
Sure.
So, there's this, like we talked about a little bit earlier, this I got to manage my business, but I have to manage my marketing, right? So, what's the difference between business management and business marketing?
Oh, I think that I mean, if you think about marketing, it's just a subsection of managing your business. They're not distinct in a sense. I mean, it's just one is part of the other. Like if you're managing your business, part of business is marketing, and marketing can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but you still have to manage it in some sense, as just in the same way that you would manage your finances, or you'd manage your employees, or you'd manage your legal obligations and things like that, right? Or any other facet of your business. It's just another thing. So marketing management is just a subsection of your business management in my mind.
And it's just as important as your HR process or
Yeah.
your purchasing process or your invoicing process. It has the equal importance and priority as these other things, because it's a one piece of a cohesive or comprehensive piece that grows. It's piece of the asset that you're building, this business. It grows the value of your business. It's very important.
I mean, yeah, you have to have a holistic approach of what you're doing. And marketing is an essential part of that, to your point. And I think, like you said, a lot of people see it as some weird distinct thing that's ooky and nobody wants to do it. But again, I think that goes back to because they think there's only one way to do it.
These questions, I'm looking at them here. Why marketing management is important in business. The strategic application of marketing in your business can grow it exponentially. I was having a conversation yesterday with Michelle Seiler Tucker. She's an author of the book Exit Rich. It's coming out here in the next month or so. She was talking about the 6 P's that grow the value of your business. You need to have them really squared away and worked out, because at some point you're going to exit your business, whether it be on a stretcher or you retire or you sell it or whatever, right? And so you need to have these 6 P's in place. And one of them, P stands for proprietary value. You need to focus on what you can create that's proprietary. And your contact list, your email list, and your CRM, all your relationships and the documentation of those relationships is a giant proprietary value in your business. And when you think about why marketing management is important in your business, you can impact that proprietary value of your business by focusing on that and putting the technology and the processes in place and the expectations of your team to help you grow your CRM database.
Yeah.
And it fits into all of these conversations. The whole reason you would do any of this activity of marketing, of sales, is to identify someone and create a contact record so that you can follow up on them. Otherwise, you're just throwing it out in the wind and it's blowing down the street to your competitor.
Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about is that connection, right? Like the whole point of the marketing is for a lot of people is to lead to a sales call or lead to an appointment or an on-site visit or something. What you're really talking about is you just want the opportunity to connect with your ideal client, and is what you're really hoping for. And um, and to have them have some idea of the person they're connecting with already, right? So that you hear a lot about people talking about, well, you got to build trust ahead of time, and that's the whole point of like certain types of social sharing and things like that. And that I think that's valid. But to your point, the goal of all of that sharing and building trust early on through one to many types of um, whether it be social broadcasts or whatever, um, the the end goal is still the same. You want that one-on-one connection. You want that one-on-one relationship with your client or your team or whoever, like even for when you're talking about like it, because it's not just clients. We talk about that a lot, but sometimes it's employees too. You want to bring the right employees in. Well, the way you do that is by making sure that you're drawing in the right types of applicants, right? And certain people apply to certain types of brands. And so the way you put yourself out there is going to completely change the types of applications you get, right? And the amount of time and effort that you put into your that you put into your like job postings, for example, right? Well, a lot of people, you could tell a lot about their company through their job postings, as an example, because if they just throw up some, copy and paste it, well, I needed, okay, like web developer is the best one. If I need a web developer, I can go to Wikipedia if I'm an HR manager and I can copy and paste the description of what a web developer does, put it into a bullet point list and go, do this. This is what we need. We need you to do all this and we'll pay you this and we'll give you these benefits. And then there's a nice checklist. And if that's your job posting, then probably I know that I'm going to go in, I'm going to get the fly under the radar as long as I do my checklists. I'll be another number in a big cog. And for some people, that's what they want because then they can just focus on their little job. They can go home at night. They don't care. And that's what they want. And that's cool. That's perfectly valid. But for other people, they'll write job descriptions that won't even mention experience. They won't mention, the coding skills, whatever. What does it talk about? It talks about passion. It talks about culture. It talks about you as an individual, as a team member. Because for those companies, and it's usually the smaller companies or the startup companies, where for them it's less important about a specific skill set because skills can be learned. What's important is you as a person, because if you're part of this team, then you're part of this team and you're part of the whole team and your input is going to be valued and expected. Well, that's a very different type of applicant than the one we were just talking about, right? Neither one is right or wrong, but there could absolutely be one that is right or wrong for your company, your culture, your business. In the same way that having a bad client is sometimes worse than having no client at all, right? And again, that's where, knowing knowing your brand story and if you're an individual, knowing your story is so important because then that's the lens that you use when you're putting things out there to invite people to engage with you, whether it's as a client, a vendor, or an employee or a partner or collaborator, whatever it is. um, that's all marketing is. It's just saying, hey, this is who I am, this is what I can do, and this is what I need. What's the other side of that puzzle piece, right? And if I can articulate that well, then those puzzle piece, and then I can put it in front of the right people at the right time, right? That's the other aspect of it, right? Then those other puzzle pieces can see themselves reflected in me, right? They go, oh my gosh, I need exactly that. I need a job where I'm valued. I need where I can hone my developing skills, but I want to be valued as a team member. So I want to go with this company over this company. Oh, I need, how about the tables, the carpenter earlier. I need a table that's built exactly to my specifications. I want it to be one of a kind because it's going to be like an heirloom or it's a gift from my father or something like that. It's got a high value. I want it to be handmade. I want it to come from repurposed wood from a naval ship or something from like the 1800s, like whatever it is. And you know what? I know that's going to cost me 10 times what a IKEA chair or table would cost, but that's okay. I have 10 times that amount and it's worth it because this company's story for this table is what I really want. I want the value, and so then it's just being authentic about that, not doing like a bait and switch and people, and then drawing, like I said, drawing those people in. Um,
You're enjoying a conversation with James Timberlake. He's our project manager at ROI Online. We're talking about the importance of marketing and business management. So, James, so I got two questions I want to ask you. One is going to be in our exclusive YouTube. You have to go to our YouTube channel to hear the discussion on what does a marketing coach do? But first, before we go there, what I want to ask you is, what's one question that we didn't talk about that you wanted to answer?
I don't know if it's so much. I guess it's a question, but um, more of a statement. I'm trying to think how to word it as a question. Oh, here we go. So I would say, what is the biggest misconception, I guess, that a lot of people have coming in, um, however they're choosing to engage with us personally, right? Whether it be through the pit stop or through a different offering. And I think the biggest misconception that people have coming in is that there's a proven formula for success that is there's a magic bullet. Most people think that there's some magic bullet. If I can take the right course, if I can learn the right thing, if I can put out the right video, with the right keyword or optimize for the right SEO, whatever it is, if I could just do that one magic bullet, then I'll be a success. I'll be a viral success, or I'll be an overnight success, or whatever. And of course, anybody who's ever gone through the process knows that, uh, you know, every overnight success comes after like a lot of years of failure.
Right.
Um, so, but so there's no magic bullet, and I think again that goes back to why we do it the way we do it, where we make it really personalized, because there is no one thing that works for everybody. If there was, then everybody would do that one thing, and then it would stop working. And you see that when there is some new magic. I mean, and this is not just in marketing, this diets and everything else too, right? I mean, that's why you have fad diets where everybody thinks it's a magic bullet because it worked for some people, right?
Mm.
So then everybody's like, oh, it worked for this 10% of the population. Cool. Now the other 90% should buy into it. And so all of a sudden everybody's doing the, I don't even want to call it any in particular, but everybody's doing the XYZ diet now,
Mhm.
right? And then it goes, oh, this diet doesn't work because, and then you start having these, well, it worked for me. Well, it didn't work for me. So like, then you're arguing whether the diet works. And it's like, it's not a magic bullet. It works for this person because it matched their circumstance. It didn't work for this person because it didn't match their circumstance. And I think that's something that people like right off the bat we have to tackle and say, look, that's not it. That's not how it works. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of trial and error, and it's consistency over time equals success. If there's a magic bullet, it's that consistency plus time plus failure and iteration equals success eventually, most of the time. Not even all the time, because sometimes crazy stuff happens, and you know, meteors fall out of the sky and land on your office and destroys everything. Well, I mean, okay, sorry, but outside of that, like that's it. That's the closest thing to a magic bullet that I've seen, or any of our clients that we've talked to have seen. Um, so anyway, I guess that would be it. Like, go ahead and just get rid of that disillusionment now. Get past it and move on.
So, James, you've been a good guest on the ROI Online Podcast. Don't jump off, because we're going to go record that answer to our question. What does a marketing coach do? But James, how can folks connect with you?
I'm on LinkedIn, James Timberlake on LinkedIn. You can also find me through the ROI LinkedIn as well. That's probably the best place. I'm fairly active there, and I respond to all my messages on there. So yeah.
All right. Well, excellent, James. You've been, again, thanks for being a guinea pig on this series of the ROI team members on the ROI Online Podcast.
Thank you. It was fun.
And that's a wrap.